a agent's perspective on the NFL as Leigh Steinberg is here with us live at the Mall of America at Super Bowl 52, Leigh, and you've been at many of these. Have you ever sat in the food court?
Never have. Incidentally, I've been in Atlantic City the last 2 years for the Maxwell Award.
Nice. And that's coming up again, next month, right?
So I got an award for Legend or something or other 3 years ago, and then we presented with Cosmo to Nicola the Steinberg-Nicola Humanitarian Award to a player from the Eagles. And then he got cut on the day that Connor Barber won. Cut on the day we gave him the award, so we were able to brighten his life a little bit.
Well, he's a very popular Eagle. I still think he does a lot of stuff in the area, right?
Yes. So we gave him an award for humanitarian philanthropy, which he dedicated a series of parks in Philadelphia.
So this is a huge event, obviously, and the Eagles being in this event, it's something that they haven't been to, since 2005?
13 years.
2004 season, 2005, 13 years. So it's a very interesting Super Bowl where you got the Patriots who have been here year after year after year, and the guys on the Eagles who have not been here before. I always find that dynamic so interesting. Like, the Patriots are always here, and this new team is here. I think that storyline is something that is always interesting as you come into this Super Bowl, especially like if you're dealing with some of the guys and how they're kind of handling all this and all the requests and all that kind of stuff.
So first of all, I think the entire country is rooting for the Eagles. And I mean, there may be
Which is odd to say, right?
There may be a small swath in New England, but we're all rooting for the Eagles because the Patriots have been there so many times, and plus, good news story like watching Nick Foles come, the everyman, and sort of do it. With a player who's in this game, and I've had quarterbacks like Ben Roethlisberger, Steve Young, Troy Aikman, all in the game. What you have, they can go out the first couple of days of the week, although it's so cold here, they might turn into popsicles. They can go there early, and then you have to count back from the game how many days you need to totally focus and shut everything out. So you have to take care of ticket requests ahead of time because it's merciless.
Now, do they turn to you for that, the players?
Yes, for help in just managing what they do. But it's unbelievable. It used to be that every player got a couple tickets and they get more, but now the face price is so ridiculous that it creates intense demand. And then the interviewing all stops, the marketing and going to events all stops, and then you just have to go back to your hotel every night, the last 3 or 4 nights, and just focus. And I remember preparing Troy Aikman, and then he came out and he told me that he hyperventilated in the first 5 minutes in the Rose Bowl. So it's still a thing. I actually think it may work well for the Eagles that they haven't been here before, so they're not overawed by the situation. In other words, and the fact that they've been the underdog, for the last few weeks, it's sort of like they can go out and play with reckless abandon. They can tell themselves nobody thinks we're going to win anyway, so let's go have fun.
One of the big things, stories that's come out this week is the trade of Alex Smith to Washington. Your client is Patrick Mahomes. Tell me what he's feeling right now, because it sounds like, and what are you hearing, are the Chiefs giving him the opportunity here?
Well, look, he's the only quarterback signed long-term on the roster, so I think if he competes, it's going to be with himself. He got that redshirt year, and he got Alex Smith he stayed in tutelage to him. So that's a huge advantage because what happens is from the college level to the pro level is such a huge shift, and it just takes time. And what we've done today with these young quarterbacks is we put so much pressure on them, and in 3 games they're judged to be a bust. So it used to be 3 years. And had that been the way, then John Elway, Troy Aikman, Peyton Manning, who each threw double the touchdown interceptions than they did touchdown passes, would never have emerged. So I hope they give Patrick a little break, but coming from a background with a father who was a major league pitcher for 10, 12 years, a godfather of LaTroy Hawkins who pitched for 20 years, he learned athletic focus, work habits, all that, staying a level field. So he should be fine.
Now, obviously, they had to like Patrick enough to make the move. They've had to feel comfortable to do that. There's a lot of people that thought some point during the season that when they were struggling, the Chiefs went through that long losing streak there. Well, my question really is, does the player get frustrated at times and say, man, why aren't they using me here? We're losing. People want me. Does the player come to you at all and kind of ask those? Because I guess they're always looking for people to kind of have an outlet. So.
Of course they feel that way. They're hyper-competitive. Feeling that way and understanding what their situation is something different, though. Because I'm very glad that didn't happen. It would have sparked a quarterback controversy.
So he handled it well.
Yes. So now he didn't compete, beat out Alex Smith. The team decided to trade him. And so now he comes in with a clean slate. And Alex Smith was terrific. They just could not get to the Super Bowl. So
well, there's also that time in everyone's career where you've got us as far as you can get us. Now we've got to move on. I mean, we see it all the time. The Eagles, when they had McNabb, there was Cobb sitting behind him, and they had to make that decision of, we want this guy to keep sitting here, and they pulled the trigger on a McNabb trade.
And what's happened now is that the league has become so quarterback-centric that it is impossible to get to the Super Bowl and through the playoffs without a franchise quarterback. I mean, the Eagles are in the position of having that franchise quarterback with Wentz, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you've got another quarterback who's playing at a high level through the playoffs.
Okay, so let's get into the mind of the agent here. If Foles is your client and they go on to win this game, are the Eagles getting phone calls immediately? How is that working out? Or is the agents suggesting, hey, my guy's got a little bit more...
Every quarterback wants to play, so you've got someone who wants to be a starter. And it happens that we have a large group of teams that need them. There are not enough quarterbacks to supply this. And it happens that there's a group of teams, just like Kansas City was this year, which are the New York Giants, Pittsburgh Steelers, New Orleans, San Diego, Arizona, that all need quarterbacks. Aside from the teams like the Jets and Cleveland that could use one yesterday. So I think you may see so they could probably get reasonable trade value for him and upgrade their team. On the other hand, you see what having a second quarterback who can be competitive and not lose games is, how important that is.
That's a tough spot for Howie.
But Howie's done, a terrific job.
Let me ask you, how many Eagles do you currently represent?
I don't, but
no.
I have over
Okay,
time.
so obviously,
And I know
has Howie evolved, learned? I mean, how far has he come? Because he was a guy that I think the Eagles fans just kind of get out of here. We don't like this guy. And now this year, they're all kind of eating crow. So do you think that he has really, since the whole Chip Kelly thing, do you think he's really learned a lot from that situation?
So the first thing is he's really astute in the use of the salary cap. And if you're a winning...
Does that make your job hard?
No. If you're a winning... No, it makes it much easier because you've got someone
like dealing with him
yes,
because
who
of that.
understands.
Okay.
So first of all, the problem is now you're the Eagles. Let's say you win tomorrow. Everybody wants your free agents. They overvalue them. They overpay them. You've got players you're going to have to discard because you just are squeezed under the cap. You got a bunch of players. Anyway, so he has that skill. Second of all, talent evaluation-wise, they made a series of great moves. I mean, they had enough depth for the first time to withstand injuries. And so that goes on Howie. And so I think you have to evolve your thinking to know that there are 30 teams sitting home, and the Eagles are here without their franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
So a lot of that's got to go to the
when
GM.
he was the GM the first time under Andy, there's a lot of people who assume that Andy was doing a lot of the player personnel and that Howie doesn't get a lot of credit, or should he get credit? I mean, there's so much gray area around what he actually did and didn't do. And then when Chip came, it was who was kind of doing things. I mean, so Howie's in a weird, he's like the Sam Bradford of GMs.
Well, I think you sort of have to look at it like this. The Eagles have been competitive for a while. And when a team's competitive for a while, one or two things is happening. This whole system is set up for parity. And so it's set up to take a team like the Eagles apart. It's set up to take New England apart. In other words, the where you draft, the fact that you have to discard free agents, your players all get more valuable, they get older and all that. And so the point is, they're here. And you just have to, what better test is there of a general manager? So
well,
I think you have to give him a lot of credit.
And I think people are turning around to him. Leigh Steinberg Super Bowl party, of course, that is an annual event, the 31st annual, and you got a bunch of different events that you are hosting. We have a lot of listeners who are on their way to Minnesota, so there are a lot of things for them to do, but you've got your annual party as well.
So our party is a collection of NFL executives, owners, coaches, current players, retired players. Our draft class will all be there. We have a running back, Ronald Jones, who will be quite a high draft pick.
USC.
And but then we do it all for a philanthropic cause. So we give out awards each year to an owner, a general manager, a coach, player, retired player. So Eric Dickerson this year for the work he does with fatherless kids. Rick Spielman, who does some amazing things from the Vikings. Andy Reid is getting an award. So we try to do that. We're also this year having a live hookup between the party and Afghanistan. So the soldiers there will be able to relate to the people at the party.
That's great.
And the hour before it, we do a concussion summit. So we've gathered experts from around the world to deal with that issue. And then Sunday, I'm actually co-hosting a fairly new event called the Sober Bowl. So, which probably will have very few Eagle fans there. But
that's at the Muse Event Center in Minneapolis.
Yeah, but it's an event just for people who want to have a great time, pre-game, post-game, during the game. Because you'll see a lot of Eagles fans will be here that are not actually going to get tickets.
I know a lot of them. They're just driving here. A super agent, Leigh Steinberg, and we appreciate him always coming on the show. His draft class, Ronald Jones, is going to be on the show tomorrow. Also, a couple other guys, Alvin Jones, some quarterbacks in the draft class. So we got a lot of work ahead of you for the draft, we know, and we appreciate you stopping by as always.
Well, I'll see you at the Maxwells this year.
Yes, AC.
We're going to give another award. You know, the first time I came there, I kept looking for the cast of the HBO show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I kept looking, where is Nookie? Where is he? And anyway, but I loved it.
Well, she knows. When's the Maxwells coming up?
Yeah.
Well, Leigh will be there. We're going to try to be there as well. And we've been there in the past many times. Leigh Steinberg's been with us